Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here, back with our this is for sure our last weapon video. We kind of had a misstep. We had done an Ice Gauntlet video, but that was initially when it was first released, and we didn't have all of the information on the skills and the passives. So we're gonna double down on the Ice Gauntlet. We're doing it this episode, Bordy. So dude, we plan on putting this up as an entire playlist for you guys. So if this may be the first weapon video you've seen, you can go back and look at all the weapon videos. We've covered them all with their active abilities and some of their key passives in there as well. You can find that over there on our YouTube channel. Of course, this is gonna be a big week for us, Bordy. We're gonna hit 1K subs. Maybe even today, dude. Maybe when you're watching this video, you're gonna look down, you're gonna see the 1K marker, and we have that has everything to do with you guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. It's been crazy, Bordy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're really close. It's gonna be nuts.
We have to record a new trailer for our channel now.
Yeah, true.
1K.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a special challenge or something, dude. We'll eat something spicy, dude. How are you with spice? How are you with spice?
Terrible. I'll throw up.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to do it then.
No.
All right. Yeah. All right, let's get right in here, dude. We have two trees on the Ice Gauntlet, Ice Tempest and Builder. So let's hop right in on the Ice Tempest tree. The first ability we have here is Ice Spikes. Now, Ice Spikes creates a trail of spikes that start from the player and go out in a straight line for 8 meters. The path ends with a mighty spike that will cause large damage and pushback. Pressing the left mouse button before reaching the end of the path will start the mighty spike early. Bordy, it costs 15 mana. It's 10-second cooldown, dude. This is a pretty powerful cleave ability here on a very short cooldown.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty strong, and I think we'll see that as we continue to go through the rest of the skills underneath the ice spikes.
Yes, so let's look at the updates here, or the upgrades. We have Refreshing Spikes. Cooldown for this ability decreased by 10% if an enemy is hit by the major spike. Empowered Spikes. Mighty Spikes damage increased 20% when hitting an enemy below 30% health. You have Deadly Path. Increases damage by 10% and adds stagger to the path of spikes. Does not increase mighty spike damage. And then the final one is Spiky Reach. Ice shards fire from the sides of the mighty spike to hit a wider area. Each shard will have a 6-meter range and hit for 75% of the mighty spike damage. So, Bordy, this to me is the staple ability in the Ice Tempest tree. Again, a powerful cleave with some skill involved. You can cancel it early to make sure you hit your target, and you're going to see some benefits for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I always like these kind of higher skill abilities that give you a payoff whenever you land an ability within the ability per se. So whenever you are able to time that left click just right and you can hit somebody with that mighty spike, you get a payoff for it. And I like it, man. I also like the AoE that once you fully flesh out this ability and you get down here to Spike, you reach, you get that AoE. Seems pretty strong. 75% of the mighty spikes damage within 6 meters. That's a decent size range as well. So good ability, man. Seems very strong.
Yes. So let's move on to the second one before we start breaking down these overall passives and stuff like that. We have Wind Chill. So Wind Chill is an attack that blasts a focused beam of freezing winds forward that will push back any enemies in the area, causing damage. Wind Chill will last for 2 seconds, have a range of 5 meters, and can be directed by the facing of the player. The player is able to move around during the attack. So it's a 20 mana cost spell, 15% cooldown. The upgrades to Wind Chill are as followed. You have Enduring Chill, increases duration of Wind Chill by 1 second. And then Shatter. Applies Rend to target, reducing defense by 5%. Rend can be stacked over time while the opponent is being hit by the Wind Chill. Max stacks of 5 Rend, which would, of course, total for 25%. And duration is 2 seconds here. So this is a pretty interesting ability, Bordy. This, I think, is very comparable to Flamethrower from the Fire Staff, but obviously it's got some different perks here. What do you think about Wind Chill?
Yeah, I think it's okay, man. It doesn't seem like it's going to do a lot of damage. It's much more of a utility spell. It says it does cause a little bit of damage, but I think that more so it's going to be pushing the players back. So you're going to be able to kind of control where players are going to be. So it's kind of a more of a utility ability that you're going to use. Also with the Rend, I think the Rend is going to be very strong and very good to stack this with other abilities in the tree, or potentially stack it whenever you're fighting in a group or what have you. This would be very good for PvE, I think, whenever you're stacking those Rends to bosses, etc. So for that reason, I think it would be viable. I don't know how much you're going to use it in like a 1v1 situation. Maybe it'll be strong in a 1v1 situation strictly for the Rend and the pushback. But in terms of damage, doesn't seem like it's going to do a bunch of damage. More of a utility ability. But seems like it's going to be decent to use in certain situations.
Yes, like you're saying, very good utility ability. And you'll kind of see that the Ice Gauntlet is a pretty unique a unique weapon in that way. A lot of support type skills, if you will. Maybe a good weapon for a back bar for your healer. It does scale off of intellect. We didn't mention that. But, of course, you have gems in the game that can help you scale it off of different statistics. More importantly, focus. So if you are a healer and you do decide to maybe potentially add wind chill and all those things to your arsenal, you're going to have some support there as far as increasing your DPS.
Or for your fire staff, because fire staff is strictly intelligence too. Plus, dude, this is max stacks of 5, so it does reduce your defense by 25% if you get those max stacks. That's pretty significant.
That is a significant amount. Bordy, let's go over here to Ice Storm, which is the third ability in the Ice Tempest tree. You have a ranged attack that damages and slows enemies within a 5-meter radius frosted area. It gives a 25% slow, a 20-meter range, and a 5-second duration. Here we go are the Ice Storm upgrades. Weakening Gusts. Incoming damage is increased by 10% for 3 seconds to enemies in Ice Storm if below 50%. Storm Summoner. Ice Storm mana cost is decreased by 80% at full mana. And Punishing Storm increases damage by 10%. For each enemy in the storm. So here you go, another like support type spell because you're going to be increasing the damage of your group here. So what are your thoughts on Ice Storm?
Yeah, I think this again is going to be more of a PvE type of ability that you're going to use. It is a big, huge dome that you place down. We've seen that in some of the videos they've shown already, and it applies the slow. I don't know how good this is going to be again in like an open world PvP situation. We always reference that because that's the type of PvP we like. But in a group setting, in like sieges, etc., this probably or would probably be very good for like controlling the point. I think because you could just drop this right there on the point, and then anybody inside of that point, if they're below 50% health, they're going to take increased damage, and then you're going to have a lot of benefit with the slows, etc. So you can kind of use that as a point control type of ability, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do think this will be good, or at least essential for siege type play, or potentially capping forts in the open world, even outpost rush, because point control, this is going to be really, really good. You're going to be able to drop this Ice Storm on a point or some point of contest, and then you're immediately going to buff your entire team's damage by 10% on these enemies inside of the storm. So overall, I think very good. There's some utility here, of course. The key passive, Bordy, in the Ice Tempest tree is Ultimate Chill. Now, Ultimate Chill is the ice abilities chill targets, increasing ice damage by 35% by 3 seconds. So there's some damage, Bordy. Pretty significant increase, if I do say so myself. Ultimate Chill is a pretty strong key passive.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, though, because as we just seen, there's only one ability here that's going to be doing any significant amount of damage. Wind Chill and Ice Storm really don't do a ton of damage, so you're really just going to be scaling that for your Ice Spikes and then your light and heavy attacks. But 35% is a pretty large increase, so maybe with the Fire Staff as your front bar, Ice Staff as the back, maybe you could do some sort of really heavy DPS build with the combination of the two if you go with this key passive here.
Yes, I do. It is going to be interesting to see. They did recently decrease the amount of damage you can do with the light attacks and the heavy attacks, I think, from the Ice Gauntlet. So maybe there was a problem there. There were some passives revolving around your light and heavy attacks, like Cold Reach, increased damage of light and heavy attacks by 15% for targets further than 15 meters. That's a pretty long shot. I don't know how applicable that will be But if you're accurate, I guess it would be pretty strong, because 15% is quite a bit of damage, especially if you look at that ultimate chill stack there and get 35% on 15. That's pretty significant for your light and heavy attacks there. But overall, I think this is pretty straightforward, Bordy. That, a lot of your key ability is ice spikes. You're going to be trying to nail that, and it's a very short cooldown. If there's ways to decrease the cooldowns of your skills with gems and potentially some of the new armor perks. So, dude, you could get ice spikes on like a maybe 6-7 second cooldown, man. This could gonna be a pretty reliable ability for you. What the heck, ability?
Yeah, I think ice spikes is going to be a bit of a challenge to hit people with, though. So it's going to be kind of a higher skill cap. Plus, whenever you use that left mouse button to hit your mighty spikes, but then you get that payoff for it. So it might be a little bit tricky to target, but I do think that you could create a very viable build around that one ability for sure. Speaking
of build, Bordy, the next tree we're going to cover is Builder. Yeah. Professional I don't even know what the word is. Transition. There we go. Yo. All right. So we got Ice Pylon is your key ability here in the Builder tree is ice. So you will basically place ice pylon that fires ice projectiles at enemies within a 20-meter range for 15 seconds or until killed. Ice pylon creates a 1-meter radius frost area that enables frost powers. So this is a 15 mana cost. It is a 10-second cooldown. So basically, you can keep Ice Pylon up all the time. Bordy, it will have its own health bar, so that's important to know. So enemies can kill your Ice Pylon, but look at the upgrades here. These are pretty crazy. Greater Pylon increases damage of Ice Pylon by 10% for slowed enemies. There's another buff to slowed enemies. Pylon regen. Ice Pylon regenerates to full health 5 seconds after it takes damage. Pylon dodge. Dodging with a full stamina bar increases the pylon rate of fire by 3 seconds. Pylon refresh. Successful hits extends the ice pylon's lifetime by 1 second. And then, so that is it for the upgrades to Builder. The key passive does evolve the ice pylon, but we'll cover that here in a second. So what do you think, Bordy? This is pretty interesting. This is unique to the Ice Gauntlet because you're summoning some sort of turret or a pet, if you will, to attack for you.
Yeah, I like it. I think that it's going to be an increase in DPS for sure. And again, I think that you could go to a strong DPS build with Fire Staff, Ice Staff as your back bar, a lot of utility on the Ice Staff. And now we see the addition of this Ice Pylon. I wouldn't imagine the Ice Pylon does a ton of damage. It does sit there for a long time, apparently, until it's killed or I guess. So it seems like, a pretty unique ability, man. It seems decent. Seems like you could build a build around it, I think.
Yes. I think, it's going to obviously add in, if you're doing an Ice Spikes build, I do think you probably are also going to pick Ice Pylon for that passive DPS increase. You're not having to do much. And I think that's always, something to look at when you're building something for PvE DPS. Is how can I increase that in a passive way, and having an Ice Pylon up all the time, doing damage for you, getting a benefit for slowed enemy, for slowed and everything like that. I do think this could be potentially your second ability for your Ice Gauntlet DPS. So let's look over here real quick at Ice Shower. So summon a shower of ice that creates a frosted area approximately 1 meter by 5 meters. Enemies that enter the ice shower will be stricken with a powerful frostbite. Frostbite blocks sprinting and dodging and slows speed by 50% and will remain on target for 1 second after exiting the ice shower. Ice shower has a lifetime of 4 seconds. So this is a 25 cost spell and a 20-second cooldown. Here are the upgrades for ice shower real quick. Enduring shower, increase the duration to 6 seconds. That's from 4. Quick shower, any ally, including self, will get a 25% speed buff for 2 seconds when entering ice shower. And then shower slush increases duration of frostbite after exiting shower from 1 to 3 seconds. Frostbite is an insanely powerful mechanic, Bordy. I gotta imagine that, especially in PvP, you're gonna be working ice shower into your build.
Yeah, I would think so. I think that the thing here is this may be a little bit tricky to target people, to hit people with it, because it's only 1 meter by 5 meters. So it's just going to kind of be in a line. So you're going to have to try to aim this. It's going to be another one of those high skill abilities. But if you can land it, there are a lot of benefits here for sure. Frostbite, the blocking, the sprinting and dodging and slow speed by 50% remains on your target for 1 second after exiting the ice shower is pretty strong, man. And then I also like the fact that they threw in another kind of buff to your group. Whenever you run through it, you can gain a 25% speed boost for 2 seconds, and you gain that too. So I can see some interesting situations where you'd kind of lay that down on the ground, if not to hit an enemy, but just to get that quick speed boost, maybe use it as kind of a gap closer or something in certain situations. Very interesting ability, man. I think it's going to be tough to land, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun to use as well, and pretty strong.
Well, here's one crazy thing that I could see happening is like, you know, you're being trailed by somebody, and you just pop this bad boy down in your path, and you run through it and get faster, and then that melee character is forced to run through it and then hit a significant amount of you know, slow. So, you know, there's a lot of utility there. Like you said, maybe not completely applicable because of the difficulty of landing this ability, but we'll see, man. It's going to be cool. Maybe, obviously, this could be something that, you know, if that's too hard to land, could see a buff as far as the size of the AoE and stuff. So we'll have to keep an eye on that there. The final ability here, Bordy, for the builder tree, there we go, finally, is Entombed. Your classic ice ability. Player can entomb themselves to ice, in ice, to become invulnerable and greatly increase mana regen. The ice tomb has a lifetime of 10 seconds and can be destroyed. Players have 2 options to cancel Ice Tomb: exit by pressing the right mouse button, or break out of the Ice Tomb by pressing the left mouse button, causing damage and knockback for 20 mana. So the cost of the spell is 0. So that's important to know. And it cooldowns 30 seconds. It only costs you mana if you choose to cancel it early with the attack. So here's Entombed, Bordy. Pretty interesting ability. Classically in MMOs, it's something that can't be broken by enemies. So that worries me a little bit, because you're basically defenseless, and now they can break your ice block. But I mean, I don't know, dude. We'll see. What are your initial thoughts on Entombed?
I think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting that it can be broken as well. It can be destroyed, but you are invulnerable. Goodness gracious, whenever you're in there, and it increases your mana regeneration greatly. So I think that it's pretty cool, man. I think there's a lot of situations where you're going to want to take this ability and use it. I think it'd be pretty good in a lot of PvP situations. You run low on mana, you just pop this Entombed, you increase your mana, and then you can break out of it. I like the touch at the end where your left mouse button causes a damaging knockback, and it also uses mana, whereas it didn't before. I like that. I think that's a nice touch, man. So whenever somebody's getting close to you, if you think they're going to break it, just go ahead and break out of there. It'll knock them back, and then you have an opportunity potentially to cast another spell or to do whatever you need to do. Maybe you can throw down an ice shower to get away if you're low on health.
Yes, for sure. So here's some, you speak of ice shower, here's some interesting synergies in this tree, and I think the passives are definitely more interesting in the builder tree. So here's some real quick, dude. So Quick Frost increases speed by 10% while in a frost area. Obviously, that plays well with shower, dude. You're getting like 30% increase, as you run through that. I think it also plays well with Ice Storm. And here's some other unique ones. Slow enemies for 25% for 2 seconds when they hit you with a melee attack while you have 100% health. So, if your opponent is melee, I think, you're getting quite a bit of slow there, and you can potentially land one of those ice showers more effectively if your enemy's already slowed. You have a Refreshing Frost, reduce all cooldowns for ice abilities by 20% when casting an ability in a frosted area. So we mentioned ice spikes earlier, and the significance of the 10-second cooldown potentially reduced with your gear and gem. And then when you start thinking about casting that from potentially an ice storm or an ice shower, I mean, dude, you can see where you might be able to start spamming ice spikes eventually. If your build is centered around ice spikes and the damage that it deals, and you find ways to reduce that cooldown to maybe even 5 seconds, I could see that build being pretty effective, especially when you couple the CC and the utility within the Ice Gauntlet trees.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do here with the Ice Tempest and the Builder trees, combining them together. I think that you can make a pretty strong build with the Ice Gauntlet, but I don't think we went through the rest of the Entombed skills. So the second one, you increase your defense by 25% for 3 seconds after you break out of Entombed. So that's pretty good too, man. So you use your mana after, and that's left clicking to break out of there. You use your mana, but then you increase your defense. And then the last one, dude, you cleanse all debuffs when being Entombed, Red. So that's super important to note right there too. That's incredibly strong. Important. So yeah, so whenever you go all the way down into the Entombed ability, that cleanse all debuffs is huge. So there's a lot of situations that you would want to take Entombed just strictly for that. That's incredibly strong for sure, yeah.
And another reason I think to run this on your back bar as a healer or a support type character. You know, here's another interesting board, because you mentioned the defense gain from strengthening Tomb, increased defense by 25% by 3 seconds. The passive Defiant Freeze. Casting an ice ability creates an ice-hardened layer, granting 20% fortify for 2 seconds. So, you know, again, casting an ability and then also getting your thing from Entomb, that's a 50% increase in defense. That's pretty nuts, bro. Or 45, sorry. But, you know, again, as a healer, you want to stay alive, or else you're not doing a lot of good to your team. So again, you can see this as a back bar utility for a healer. You can see it, you know, as maybe you want to do like a heavy armor Ice Gauntlet build. And so you're going to, you know, use these two abilities to kind of make yourself unkillable. I could see some pretty interesting type builds that were built around the Ice Gauntlet with heavy armor too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun to build for sure.
All right, so here's the key passive for builders. We wrap this up is Ultimate Frost. Doubles Ice Pylon's health and extends Ice Pylon Frost radius to 5 meters. Standing in this area doubles Quick Frost and Empowered Frost bonuses. So, dude, and again, we just mentioned some of these. Standing in these frost areas, you know, you get the bonus to defense. You get the you get your increased speed movement. So then that 10% becomes 20%. You know, there's a lot of different, you get your cooldown reduction, dude. So that doubles. So then you're getting a 40% cooldown reduction on again, abilities like Ice Spikes. So then you're already getting like a 6-second Ice Spike, dude. I'm telling you, dude, watch out, boys. The reduced cooldown Ice Spike is going to be a thing. I'm telling you. It's going to get crazy.
It may be, but this specifically says Quick Frost and Empowered Frost. Quick Frost increases your speed. Empowered Frost increases your mana regeneration. So those are the two that you're going to get. Yeah. So whenever you stand in the area, you double Quick Frost. It's the passive on the top there. Your Quick right beside Ice Pylon to the right. Your Quick Frost increases your speed by 10% in a frosted area. Then Empowered Frost is right below that one. It regains 3 mana for each spell cast while in the frosted area. But that is pretty nice, man, to regain that extra mana, and it doubles. So you're going to regain 6 mana for every ability cast, and you're going to get a 20% speed boost while you're in that area. Plus, you get double your Pylon's health bonus, and it increases the radius. Overall, pretty good, man. I think you can make a very decent build around the Ice Pylon as well. I think the Ice Pylon is going to be more of a nuisance probably in PvP, or potentially you know, maybe it will do a little bit of extra DPS or enough DPS to help you finish off your opponent. But I can see it being very strong in a lot of PvE situations, and in group PvP, I think it would be pretty good too. Whenever you're in sieges or whatever, there's lots of enemies around, you just throw down that Ice Pylon and it just slowly kind of ticks away at people. I think you could have some interesting builds around it for sure.
Well, okay, so it does make the frost area more obtainable, because it seems like you're gonna have a 5-meter frost around your Ice Pylon. So you're going to get those buffs easier. But, dude, I'm still in the bus. I'm doubling down on the Ice Spike thing, even though you don't get the reduction cooldown. So we'll see. We'll see, boys. Well, that really does it. Officially, we're done with the weapon series. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, let us know in the comments below what you think of the Ice Gauntlet. Dude, there's been a crazy amount of builds over there at New World Fans. We're excited about the builder and how excited you guys are about the builder. We have over 16 pages right now of builds that you guys have put together. It's awesome seeing those, and of course some of those have the Ice Gauntlet in there. So, Bordy, we're looking forward to doing some content around the builder soon. So, I think Taken just put up a voting system, which is important to, you know, rankings and everything like that, and a comment system, which, you know, we'll see. You guys behave yourselves over there at New World Fans, okay? If you're coming from the YouTube channel, you got to be nice boys, okay? No mean comments about the builds, okay? All right, Bordy. Well, that about does it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.